So, last I left off, Izuku Midoriya had just unlocked his quirk, Avatar, an ability that allows him to take on the characteristics of living beings. Basically, if you just need a simple rundown, just a simple one of what he could do, he could just shapeshift and copy quirks. Although, as we continue this story, I'm going to try and explain it a bit more through dialogue, and if I can't, I'll just try to explain it there. Anyway, moving on. We cut to Izuku. He's in his middle school uniform as he managed to see a battle between a villain and two new heroes on the block, Kaminari Woods and Mount Lady. He pulls out his notebook and begins to write in it. Wow, those heroes are pretty cool, and their hero costumes down to their quirks? Then he begins to see Mount Lady just grow in size and throw a mountain kick on the villain, and he was like, nice. After continuing writing in his notebook, he was disrupted by that star-headed man who knocked him out of his trance. Hey kid, I'm sorry to bother you, but aren't you in middle school? He points at his clothes and at his backpack, and Izuku is like, yeah? Shouldn't you be heading to school by now instead of just looking at a fight? Oh, I know, it's just that I like to see heroes. Besides, I won't be late. I'm just here to do a quick rundown. In fact, I'm already done. He stops writing his notebook and then closes his book. Thanks for the warning though. Sure thing, kid. Just keep up with those studies, kid. Izuku smiled back at him and then waved while running back to his school, making sure not to be late. Now we cut to the classroom. Everything is quiet and somber as you expect from the classroom as they were hearing their teacher talk. Okay, so here it is. The last day of middle school. I know some of you are anxious to get out, but I need you to ask yourselves, what are you all going to do once you leave here? He starts to look at all of them eye to eye, and then he began to talk more. You see, after this you go to high school, and after that you go to college and then eventually graduate. What are you going to do with your life? That's the question. He continues to talk more but then stopped and sighed. Who am I kidding? I know all of you want to go to the hero track. He throws his papers in the air and this causes the entire classroom to go into a mayhem as everyone begins to use their quirks except for two students, Izuku and Bakugou. Alright class, please settle down. I know that all of you are excited, but please stop using your quirks. Even though that is the last day of middle school, you are still prohibited to use your quirks. They all began to calm down and then put their hands together. And Bakugou scoffed. Don't log me in with the rest of these guys, teach. Bakugou spoke up, causing everyone to gain their attention. Even Izuku, who was just minding his own business, decided to pay attention. You see, as you know, I'm better than the rest of these rugrats. He puts his legs up and then does a flip, landing on his table. Then he points a thumb down his way. I'm the best of the best in the school, and everyone knows that. None of you can compare to me. As he said this, some of his classmates began to chuckle. Bakugou was confused, but then that look of confusion soon turned into a look of anger and hatred. He looked back and then he saw a second Bakugou, mimicking everything that he was doing. Izuku, he said with annoyance in his voice, and Izuku gave up the charade. Haha, you caught me, he said in Bakugou's voice. Then he quickly transformed back into his normal self, and everyone began to break out laughing as he just made a fool out of Bakugou, and Bakugou was just pissed. Izuku, what did I say about mimicking people in class? The teacher warned, and Izuku put his hands up. Oh, I'm sorry, it's just that he was causing a ruckus, so I just thought I should join in the fun. He said it so mischievously that almost everyone believed that he really did join the fun. Now, the thing about this Izuku is that he's different. is that he isn't cowardly, obviously, neither is he, isn't exactly just boosting with confidence and has an overinflated ego like Bakugou. Instead, he's just a normal overall jokester. And well, that's what I'm hoping to go with. Anyway, back in the video. As they both took their seats, the teacher began to go over the papers and then tell her all the schools that they were going to. So you're going to apply for UA, Katsuki? The teacher asked, which caused the entire class to go into shock, and then murmurs could be heard around the entire class. Alright everyone settle down. As the teacher was trying to calm everyone down, Bakugou had a huge smirk on his face. That place only has a 2% chance rate of getting in. I know none of you could do that. But then the teacher also spoke up another name. Oh, and looks like Izuku is going to be accompanying you too. What? Bakugou screamed, and the entire class was also laughing. Guess you'll have to deal with him for another 3 years. Awesome. Well, you know me, Bakugou. After all, that place is pretty good. I just thought, man, let me just apply. And well, no one really laughed at this because they believed that Izuku was clearly capable of doing that, because the special thing about this Izuku is that he could obviously learn how to use explosions, just like Bakugou. Now, the thing about Bakugou and Izuku's dynamic here is that they're not really enemies from the start. Most likely how it goes is that Izuku starts to make some jokes around Bakugou, and Bakugou is just pissed off at this and doesn't want that. But also Bakugou also feels, how do I say this, a bit insecure because Izuku could use his quirk, but they are somewhat friends in a sense. Kind of like Kirishima and Bakugou in canon, I guess, if you can say that. Anyway, back to the story. As class rounded up and everyone was going home, Izuku was packing his stuff when Bakugou and his crew came rolling around. So, you're applying for UA too, huh? Bakugou scoffed. He didn't really want this guy in UA. UA was his dream school, and he knew that if he entered here, he might just go crazy. Yup, you bet. You do know that place has a 2% chance rate of getting accepted. Yup. And you do know that some of these guys are hard-trained heroes. Definitely. And you do know. Before he could continue, Izuku just cut him off. Look, Katsuki, no matter how much you're going to try to discourage me, I've already made up my mind. I'm going to UA. So, I guess I'll see you in the next semester. Okay, whatever. Bye. As he was waving goodbye, Bakugou just began to kick stuff around the table, as he was clearly unhappy that his plan went out, because, well, Izuku and him are a match, plus there are also some other things. As he was heading down though, he decided to take a shortcut to a tunnel, as he thought that way would be way more faster than his usual route. As he was walking, thinking to himself, wondering about today's class, and also, well, can't believe that he's finishing middle school, he didn't notice that, well, a manhole cover was beginning to shake violently, until it burst out and a bunch of sludge was coming out. Izuku turned back and the sludge seemed like it was coming alive, as it tried to latch on to Izuku, but using Bakugou's explosions, he quickly morphed his hands and then backed away. Whoa, what the hell? He cursed, and he began to slam his head for cursing. Great, now I just sound like Bakugou when I do that. As he was starting to back away from the sludge, it started to form eyes and a mouth. That's a pretty good quirk you got there. Hand me your body, kid. Hurry, before that freak comes around, the sludge villain demanded. He was in a hurry, obviously, and he did not want to deal with this kid. I'ma go with no. Izuku refused. Then he began to run, but the villain quickly tried to chase him down. As he tried to attack Izuku again, Izuku dodged and then blasted an explosion, but The only thing that it did was separate the Sludge villain for a moment before it just quickly reformed. Then it took over Izuku's hands, and Izuku tried to blow him up again, but it just contained inside the Sludge villain. Hahaha, I got you now, kid. Then he began to cover more and more of Izuku as it literally was dragging him. Izuku was trying to pull away, but it was too late. He was starting to feel the oxygen cut off from his body until he heard a masculine voice shout, "Texas, smash!" Then, like as if a tornado rushed in, a giant amount of wind pressure came in, blasting the villain away from Izuku. And as Izuku's body went limp, he blacked out for a moment. When he came back to his senses too, he looked around. Everything seemed fine. He was outside the tunnel, and as he was packing his things, he noticed someone standing over him. He looked up and he saw that it was All Might. He wasn't in his hero costume, but he knew the number one hero from basically his face alone. He backed away in complete shock. All Might? He stammered, and the hero just waved his hand. "Hello there, young lad. I see that you were caught by the Sludge villain. My apologies. I meant to catch him in the sewers, but he was a little bit too quick for me," the hero said, and Izuku just looked at this towering man, this symbol of peace, and the first thing that came to his mind was, "Can I have your autograph?" Already did that. And as he said this, Izuku was shocked. "Huh? Look into your notebook." Izuku began to quickly flip through his notebook until he saw All Might's signature. He began to swoon over it. "I can't believe All Might actually signed my notebook. This is amazing!" "Well, I'm glad you liked it, but sadly though, I'm in a hurry. I better take this villain. Anyway, see you soon." As All Might jumped, however, Izuku had latched on to All Might's leg. "Huh? What the? Please, wait. I'm sorry, oh." He couldn't talk because his wing was literally being pushed back by the wind, and All Might was trying to push him off. "Look, kid, I know that you are my fan, but can you please let me go? I can't let go because if I do, I might die of this height." All Might was thinking of this, and he actually, said, "Fine." Izuku in his mind was like, yes. Although he could have slowed himself down with the explosions, he really needed to say this to his number one hero. As they landed near a rooftop, All Might stared at him, and it was not something of a happy stare. It was more like a pissed off stare, like, why was this kid on my leg stare? "So, what do you want from me, kid?" I know that this is sudden, but I just really want to say something." "What? Do you want my picture too?" "Oh, no, that's not it. It's just that I want to personally say to you, thank you. Thank you for being a symbol for everybody. I know that you usually get this from a lot of mail, so that's why I didn't want to send you. I just want to do this personally because you're my idol and you've really helped me through some tough times, so that's why I just wanted to say thank you." All Might was absolutely shocked. He was genuinely touched by what the kid said, and he wasn't faking it either. But then he began to writhe in pain, and Izuku noticed this. All Might, are you okay?" But then suddenly, smoke began to form around the hero, and Izuku had to literally puff away the smoke as it was entering his eyes and his nose. "All Might!" But as he called out and the smoke dissipated, All Might was gone. Standing in his place was a skeletal figure of a man, and Izuku jumped back. Whoa! All Might looked at himself and sighed. "All Might, what happened to you?" All Might was again shocked by this. Most people that saw me like this would have thought that I'm some kind of imposter. Yeah, but, well, I'm kind of a shapeshifter too, so I would have known if that was some kind of shapeshifting quirk, but obviously not, so what's all that? What happened to you, alright? This is my civilian form, he began to explain. Most people don't know this, but since you're already here, I guess I could just give you an explanation. He began to sit at the edge of the balcony and Izuku began to listen attentively. He pulled off his shirt and he showed off his scar, just nothing more than a mass of red tissue. Izuku looked away in disgust. What is that? An injury I got a few years back. I was fighting a villain and, well, it kinda got out of hand. I was gravely injured and I did my best to try and keep it under wraps. But so far, due to this injury, I can only do hero work for 3 hours a day. Izuku was shocked. Whoa. Yeah. But what? Can't you just retire? I mean, you've already done so much. Don't push yourself. I might chuckle to this. Well, that's the thing, kid. I can't really just retire. Like you said before, I inspired you, correct? I still have to be that inspiration for so many others. Most times I feel like that what I do isn't enough, but given my meeting of you, I already know that I won't regret doing this. Just keep on doing what you do, okay? You want to become a hero, right? Izuku nodded. Good. Just continue working hard, train your quirk, and become one of the greatest heroes of your generation. He began to walk away, but then stopped. Oh yeah, and personally, would you keep this under wraps too? I wouldn't want anyone to know about this. Oh, of course, sure thing, alright? Thank you. He said this as he was closing the door, and Izuku was just left to his thoughts. I can't believe that. Even after all that, he's still such a great man. I'm glad I met him. He began to walk down the staircase and then tried to head home from a different route, still mind-boggled by what just happened, and still can't believe that All Might would share such a secret with him. But then he began to hear explosions go off. He looked around and then saw a giant just a giant smoke cloud coming. He ran to the area and then he saw a bunch of news reporters and civilians going on. He began to try and get closer and then he heard whispers about them not getting closer and he's going to get killed. Izuku was shocked and then began to rush more to the crowd and then he saw what was going on. Mount Lady, Kaminari Woods, and one other hero, I've really forgotten his name. I think I might put him up. Please, editing me, try and look for him. Thank you. And the Sludge villain. Izuku was shocked. He couldn't believe that he was here. He thought that All Might captured him. But then he began to remember something coming off All Might's pocket as he latched onto him. And then he cupped his hand over his mouth. I can't believe that. Was that? He's stuck because of me. All Might lost him because of me. He began to blame himself for everything. And then he looked towards the person that was there. And then he began to say sorry so much for everything in his mind. But then he saw who it was. It was Bakugou. Please, sir, calm down. Let the boy go. They began to conversate with the villain, trying to make him calm down. Get off me! Bakugou exclaimed as he was letting off giant explosions, which was just causing the surrounding area to catch on fire. But it did not separate him from the villain. I don't think so. This kid over here has a very, very good quirk. I could do a lot of damage with him. He began to laugh maniacally to himself, which made the entire people that were watching scared, and Izuku was terrified. He literally puts one of the only friends that he has in this kind of danger. He doesn't know what to do with himself. He just began to think to himself, please save him, please, please, please. Why aren't you doing anything? A civilian shouted, and one of the heroes turned back and then said, I'm sorry, but our quirks aren't meant for this kind of situation. He's going to get killed at this rate. This sent a jolt throughout Izuku's spine. Then, the one thing that set it off was the horrified look that Bakugou had, and Izuku knew what he had to do. He vaulted over the barricade and then blitzed past all the heroes. Hey, kid! What are you doing? Get back! That's a villain, for goodness sake! But Izuku did not listen. He had to do something. Otherwise, Bakugou would be killed. He threw his bag at the Sludge villain's eye and then ran up to Bakugou. Hey Bakugou! What are you doing, Izuku? Get out of here! Sorry, but no can do. He shoved his hands into the villain and then said, So, you ready? What do you... Then he began to crack a smile. You crazy son of a bitch. Yup. The Sludge villain's eye began to return back to place and he went to go look towards Izuku. Oh, it's you. Yeah, it's me. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let it rip. He shouted. Then the villain began to glow and glow and glow. The civilians didn't know what was happening until the Sludge villain exploded. Literally pieces of its body just splashing everywhere, and also sending the two kids flying at opposite directions. And this knocked Izuku out cold. When he came to, he noticed some of the heroes trying to wake him up. He's awake, thank God. Izuku began to shake his head. He was still very dizzy from that. Then he began to feel sharp pain come from his arms. Right. I always forget that Bakugou's quirk is painful like hell. But then his eyes run wide as he just realized what had just happened. Remembering what just happened. My friend, is he safe? Yeah, he's safe. In fact, he's over here right now. He pointed at Bakugou, who was just there with his arms in his pockets. Took you long enough to wake up Izuku? Thank goodness. The spectators began to cheer for Izuku as he had the courage to literally run towards the villain. But the heroes began to scold him. Now, your quirk is pretty cool. And I noticed that it's the same quirk as this guy over here. But what you did was very, very irresponsible. You could have gotten killed. And Izuku snapped back with, but if I didn't do anything, my friend would have been killed. The heroes didn't know how to respond to that, except just to, well, shut up. Well, whatever. At least all said and done, they might should pack the villain. Anyway, I'm heading home. What about you? Yeah, just give me a minute. I need to pack my stuff. Cool. Bakugou began to walk away, and as Izuku was packing his stuff, he went to go notice All Might was in the background, in his skinny form. Then he left with a giant smile on his face. He just got recognized by his idol once again. Even though that he was the one that got his friend into this whole mess, he still fixed the problem, and that's caused Izuku to smile to himself. Well, no time to smile to yourself, Izuku. You got 10 months of trains ahead of you. As he finished packing, he ran towards Bakugou and then they began to walk off. So, wanna train together? Izuku was shocked and he was like, really? I mean, after all, I thought I would just be cramping your style. He mocked and Bakugou was a little bit pissed off. Hey man, I'm trying to be nice. Can't you at least take it? Sorry about that. Anyway, so yeah, of course I would like to train. Besides, we could probably come up with some cool techniques with our quirk. My quirk, jackass. And Izuku put an arm over him. Our quirk, comrade. Izuku grinned and Bakugou just turned away from it, not wanting to look at this idiot. You really piss me off sometimes, Izuku. I know. And as they were joking, they began to walk into the sunset. That's where I'm going to leave it off, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this part. And anyway, I went to go fix the name and the thumbnail. Also, still Merry Christmas to all of you. And I'm going to catch you all in the next one. See ya!